You can't scream if you can't breathe. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
Oh,
I'm
I guess that's true.
almost positive one of them was the opposite, where it was like you can't breathe if you can't scream, some shit like that. They were all real stupid.
Why not Anaconda don't?
Yeah. Why not just make it like my anaconda don't?
wow. I know it's early, but I am drinking wine because this is going to be quite the episode.
Yes. This is episode 99 of I Hope You Suffer. I'm hidden Nate Story.
I'm Katie.
I'm Kit. I was gonna say Kate Story, but if he's Kate,
Well, you're Kit, so
Robin is gonna have
leaves
no
you
idea.
with Katie.
Robin has no idea what's happening now.
no. And then by the time Robin listens, it's gonna be like months from now, and no one's gonna know what's happening. So
Yeah. Solid joke starting the episode that 4 people will get.
3 of them are us.
Yeah, this week we are talking about 1997's Anaconda. This is Katie's pick.
Heck yeah.
Also, secretly, this is kind of episode 100, but not numbered that way.
Oh really?
I think the Christmas episode we did, where we did the gift exchange,
Oh yeah.
but whatever.
There are probably like 3 or 4 lost episodes in there. So
Yeah, this would really be like episode 120, probably, the amount of times that something's gone wrong recording.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright, so Katie, why did you pick Anaconda?
Well, uh,
I'm a big John Voight fan.
no, I'm not actually. Oh man. I was gonna say like whenever he first oh man, he's just got one of those faces that you just hate. Like, you just see him and you automatically are just like filled with rage and you're like, I don't even get
It's,
off. And he's in this movie so much.
it's because he's a trash person.
Wow. Why did I pick this? Well, like I said in the last episode, I originally wanted to pick House on Haunted Hill, but it wasn't streaming. And Anaconda, so I definitely did not see this in the theaters. I just realized it came out in 97. I was like 10, so I definitely didn't see it in the theater. But it was like one of those movies that would come on. You know how like HBO, haven't seen HBO in like 15 years, but how they would get like a new movie and they would just show it over and over again. That's what they did for this movie. And I remember watching it. And first of all, if I haven't said it enough, like I'm terrified of like water and especially like Amazon
snake water.
brown snake piranha whatever water, and I'm also really scared of snakes. And in case like people don't know what anacondas are, they're freaking huge. They're so big. And I remember like along with being really scared that I was going to encounter quicksand in the wild, like for some reason I thought I would see anacondas like in my backyard in Virginia. So
Stranger things have happened.
I mean, it's true. So for me, like when I was 10, this movie was like genuinely scary to me, but I still really liked it. And I haven't seen it in probably like 10 years, maybe longer. So like I remember the premise of it, obviously, but I don't really remember much that happened. But for some reason in my mind, it just stuck out as a favorite to me. So I saw it just went up for streaming. I don't remember having seen it like stream before, so I was just like, yeah, perfect. And then once you start watching it, this has got quite the cast. I mean, like, I'm not really J-Lo's fine. I'm not really like I don't care about J-Lo, but like Ice Cube, I love Ice Cube. Owen Wilson is stalking me. Like I don't seek out Owen Wilson movies, but he just happens to have been in like a bunch of movies I've watched recently, like unknowing that he was in it. And Danny Trejo, like it's just cast aplenty
I
here.
watched 2 movies yesterday with John Voight and Danny Trejo in it. Because
Wow.
I watched Heat with before this. And,
What is Heat? I've seen you guys talking about it. I don't know what it is.
Al Pacino, Robert De Niro movie from like the 90s. Like a bank
Okay.
robbery heist movie thing.
Okay.
Super good.
Well,
Hard back. Everybody watch Heat instead of everything else.
so here's the question, though. What did you guys think about Anaconda?
Go ahead, Kit.
Oh, I love Anaconda. I loved it as a kid, and then I rewatched it like a few years ago and was like, this doesn't really hold up. And then watching it yesterday, I was like, I'm a fucking idiot. This movie rules.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, John Voight provides the laughs because he's so over the top, fucking stupid. It's incredible.
I also like didn't remember him having that accent, so I was like,
Oh,
what?
that accent I remember way more than like the snakes or anything else.
I was just like, when he first started talking, I was just like, why is he talking like that? And then I think they say he's supposed to be like Portuguese or something, and I was like, oh, that's not what. Okay, sure.
Every time he talked, I was like, this sounds so familiar to like another character, and I just like could never place it. It's driving me crazy. I This is a pretty middle of the road movie, I guess, for me. Like, this is a fun, like, put on in the background dumb movie, but like I want more Anaconda in it than like John Voight being the villain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
but the Anaconda is not the villain.
This movie
Disagree.
has possibly one of the greatest visuals I've ever seen in a movie that I can't wait to talk about.
Oh,
Is,
I think
is it a certain camera angle? Because agreed.
Probably. We'll see when it comes up. We're talking about the same
Okay.
thing.
I still really liked it. Like I said, I hadn't seen it in a really long time. And yeah, like some of the CG is really bad,
It's
and
great.
it like I think just because we've watched so many things that have terrible CG, like it wasn't as bad, but like anytime the Anaconda like wrapped somebody up, I was just like, oof, no, not great. But anytime there was like the puppet Anaconda, I loved because like that's like the creature like animatronic puppets thing is really the thing that I gravitate to in movies, especially like older movies. So anytime they showed him, I was like, yes. And he actually, I felt like still looked pretty much like a real anaconda. Like obviously we know it's not, but I did think like rewatching it that there was a little bit more stuff on the boat than I like them just like chilling on the boat than I cared for because like I feel like this movie does a really good job when the characters are introduced of like letting you know what kind of person they are, if they're just like normal or if they're trash, like you know right away. So like I don't really care that like Van Pelt from Jumanji needs to listen to opera or whatever. Like that doesn't I don't care. Like I just want to see people get anaconda, you know what I mean? But so I will say like but aside from that, this movie has like one of like I didn't remember the climax of this movie at all. I didn't remember who lived. Obviously, spoiler, duh, J-Lo lives because she's the main character. But I didn't remember anything else about it. And this movie has like one of the craziest and I thought one of the best like climax scenes of a movie that of like one. It's like one of the tops for me. So I'm really excited to like talk about once they get to whatever that house is at the end. But so yeah, for me, I still really liked it. And I think bad CG aside, I think it's like worth revisiting.
Yeah, the animatronic snake looks pretty good most of the time. There's like one scene in the movie apparently where like while they were shooting, the snake shorted out and just like they lost control of it that they just left in there, but I'm not sure where it was at.
Oh.
Apparently Gillian Anderson was gonna be in this movie. She auditioned to be
Anaconda voice.
yeah, she was gonna be yeah, she wanted Frank Welker's fucking position.
I did think it was sort of weird though, like that the anaconda kind of sounded like a whale. I don't really know what anacondas sound like, but I imagine it's not like an orca.
We missed out by Ray Romano not being Dr. Stephen Cale.
Ew, no, come on.
Perfect. Or
I want to
Dave
see
Foley.
them have to perform a tracheotomy on
Ray Romano.
fucking Ray Romano.
Yes, hard agree. Yes, this movie was directed by Louis Loza.
Sure.
I don't know how to pronounce names. Written by Hans Bauer, Jim Cash, who wrote the perfect trio of Top Gun, Turner and Hooch, and Dick Tracy.
Oh, wow.
And Jack Epps Jr., starring Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, Owen Wilson, our girl Carrie Werr from Eight-Legged Freaks.
Hell yeah.
Danny Trejo, douchebag John Voight is our Seinfeld connection. And Frank Welker in his 7,000 roles as the voice of the Anaconda.
Wouldn't it rule if he just did Megatron's voice for the Anaconda?
Yes. Or just like just like a random dog voice, like.
You forgot the more prevalent role for Carrie Werher in Thinner.
Impossible. Eight-Legged Freaks. Oscar-worthy Eight-Legged Freaks.
Yes. So here's my question. Ice-T or Ice Cube?
In general or in this movie?
Just in general.
Oh, Ice-T. Ice-T,
Sorry,
like...
Cube.
No, Ice Cube went on that weird fucking anti-Semitic fucking tweet storm the other day.
Oh, really?
I don't think he knows what he was posting, but like, I don't know, it was very weird. Ice-T also says some problematic shit, but usually just like follows it up with like good shit. I don't know.
You telling me no Vaseline is problematic?
Oh.
I mean, as somebody that, like, when the Death Row Record stuff went on Bandcamp, bought a couple of them, early 90s hip-hop was not fans of gay people.
No, and I feel like, yeah, no, I don't, well.
I forgot that, like,
sorry I asked.
most of the Chronic is just about how, like, Eazy-E is bad because he was gay, so... Not good. But Ice-T, I feel like, would come on the podcast, so hard stand Ice-T.
Yeah, come on, Ice-T.
Although Ice Cube is pretty good, too, on here. Yeah. Ice Cube is, like, the saving grace of this movie to me.
He has the best reactions.
Yes.
And his character is, like, the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is, like, pretty I mean, I don't know. Let's just move on.
I spent like the whole
refreshing, but like,
I
hadn't
seen this movie since it came out. Like I saw it in the theater when it first came out, and like I spent the entire time being like just waiting for like the first crew death because I was like, of course it's gonna be Ice Cube.
That's what I was thinking
when they didn't go with that trope.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, and then I was like, oh, all right, okay, so yeah. All right,
Katie, tell us about this movie.
Wait, before we get underway,
I am not waiting.
I would just like to point out that the number one plot keyword is butt.
Why?
Was there a butt in this movie?
Not that I recall, unless we saw the snakes.
There was
one person found it relevant.
Is it because of like the song?
Maybe.
That's like. I can't think of...
Maybe somebody's just going through and in every movie that you see like a full body shot of somebody where there's just a butt in frame, they're just...
Well, to be fair, in the beginning of the movie, J-Lo is wearing like a lot of stuff without anything underneath. And so the very first thing that we see like after the opening. She's like at her computer and she gets up to answer the door and like that's the only thing I can think of. I wasn't even gonna mention it at all, but that's the only thing.
I'm gonna go back and just do John Voight's butt as like a plot keyword for every movie John Voight's in.
Somebody
John Voight
put
naked.
cult film as a I don't what or would we say that? I don't
I feel like
see.
this movie made like more than its budget was, so this movie was like a success, but it's also like not generally well received.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it necessarily is like a cult film. I mean, I guess kind of. I don't know. I guess it just depends on your definition of cult film.
I remember it being like kind of a big deal.
It was, but it's not like. I don't think at this point it's like, other than, you know, people like us that like shitty horror movies, I don't think it's generally like well regarded as like a good movie.
So
Yeah.
idiots.
Yeah. The same people that are like, Jason X is the worst in the series.
Plebeians.
Yeah.
All right.
Hell.
Oh, so the beginning of the movie starts with and I like I don't know how I feel about them doing this to movies but it starts with basically just like a on-screen text about like, do you want me to read it?
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Okay, it's essentially just like talking about how anacondas live in the Amazon and they are man-eating, and some of them are 40 feet long, which like why is that allowed to exist? And they just like are they just are gross, like they're just, oh man, they're bad. So it basically, this movie starts out with like Danny Trejo.
40 feet would be like, what, like 7 of you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Probably like 50 of me. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think that math works out.
I don't know math at all, but I just can't even
Two 20-foot snakes put
I
together.
just, if I ever saw one, there's just like no way I could like think about running away. I'd just be like, well, that's it. Like,
Well, just wait for your birthday next year.
hasta la pasta.
Just have a big fucking.
Got a snake guy.
It'll be like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and the snake is like, they give Meatwad the snake as a gift, but it's like in wrapping paper.
That just like reminds me though that for some reason I had like, do you guys remember those really long like snake stuffed animals? They would fit
Yeah.
on like the whole. I had one of those. What was wrong with me? Like, I don't know.
We should just continue, like, every time we try to start talking about this movie, we should just keep interrupting with like some non sequitur.
Well, it's been 20 minutes at this point, so sorry. Okay, so the movie starts with Danny Trejo trying to use a radio to like call for help, and he's like, I don't know what you even call. He's in this like little hut on the river, which, oof, no thank you. The animal, he's got like caged birds and stuff for some reason, like a lot of them, and they're all freaking out. And he is like, oh man, he's scared. And he decides that he, like, obviously this movie's called Anaconda, so you know it's about anacondas. So the fact that he,
What?
like, yeah, I know. He, like, nails a board over the door, and I'm like, is the snake gonna, like, knock on the door and come in? That seemed really weird to me, but,
I mean, to be
you know,
fair,
I guess
later in the movie, the snake is just what going through doors left or right. So
well, that's what one of my questions was gonna be, like, do you think that, okay, so the snake, like, basically, he, like, blocks the
we're
door.
never getting through this movie.
The floorboards start like shaking and like bust up, and there's like nails flying everywhere in slow-mo. And I'm in my head, anytime the snake does stuff like this, I'm like, do you think that the snakes could really just like bust through a wall?
I mean, you gotta figure that shack he's in is like not probably super
Yeah.
stable, but and like a snake that big has the muscle power to probably bust through.
I guess I just don't know a lot about like trajecting yourself out of the water.
How motivated is the snake?
Yeah, Danny Trejo looks like he'd be a tasty treat.
Well, I read that anacondas like really like to eat, so like he's pretty motivated.
I disagree, because this snake is constantly just like killing people and just leaving them to float in the fucking river.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
be motivated
because-
to fight Danny Trejo.
Yeah, Danny
No.
Trejo was in Folsom Prison. The dude will fuck you
Well,
up.
The snake's in the Amazon, so I don't think he knows that.
Although Danny Trejo is on record as saying that John Cusack is maybe the strongest person he's ever worked with and somebody he's legitimately scared of.
What?
Holy shit.
They had an episode of How Did This Get Made where they interviewed him and they asked him on Con Air what person he worked with did he think was the craziest and could probably like take you in a fight, and he said John Cusack because he's just got something going on behind his eyes.
I am terrified. That's so scary.
So John Cusack, murderer.
His dead eyes.
Confirmed a murderer.
I'm gonna hire John Cusack to kill Matthew Broderick.
All right, so John Voight at the end of this, no.
Okay, so basically,
Danny Trejo's eaten.
Yeah, he climbs to the top of the tower. No, he's not. He climbs to the top of the tower and he shoots himself in the head so that he doesn't get eaten.
Probably eaten after that.
Well, so now we cut to J-Lo and she's doing research and #butt, I guess. She's
#butt.
Yeah, Professor Kale, who is Eric Stoltz.
Yes, who is not spelled the proper way of kale. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's C-A-L-E. And for some reason, when I first saw him, I thought he was the Dreamcatcher guy. And I was like, why is this happening to me?
Haunted by Dreamcatcher.
I am haunted by
him and Owen Wilson teaming up.
Oh my god, that's so scary. Okay, he shows up and he's basically there's just like a lot of back and forth. You find out that they're trying to find this specific tribe of people that live in the Amazon. I put in parentheses like, can you just leave them alone though? Like his whole job is to like locate hidden tribes, and I'm like, can you not? But that's what they do.
Yeah, everybody, white people are
J-Lo,
the worst.
Which is why this movie is so great, because they really pay for it. Like, so, and he's basically just like, hey, we got this money because I lied about where these people, like, I just told this board of directors that I knew where they were. So, like, let's go. J-Lo is a documentary director. And so, like, everybody else, there's just, like, everyone else meets on this boat, right? So you're introduced to Ice Cube, who I didn't even write his name down. I just was calling him Ice Cube.
Danny.
Danny. He's Ice Cube. Then you get...
Can we talk about real quick the absolute perfect first line for Ice Cube of "Today is a good day"?
I died.
Never say that. Yeah, never say that.
Perfect.
He's got my favorite line later, and I can't wait to talk about it. So then we get introduced to Warren. I wrote Westfield, but I guess it's West Ridge, who is Van Pelt from Jumanji. And he is basically going to be, he's British, so he's going to be like the David Attenborough of this documentary. And then you get Denise and Gary, who is Owen Wilson, and they're part of the crew also. So Ice Cube, oh my God. So everybody on this boat pretty much like doesn't like each other, or they have like a weird history, right? So it makes this whole it's basically like Friends, but they're going to hunt anacondas, The
only way I would ever watch an episode of Friends.
Right. So, and then Ice Cube, I thought it was really funny. Ice Cube calls Kale a low-budget ass Jacques Cousteau, which I thought was so funny. Because anytime, I don't know why, but low budget, like as an insult, is just my favorite thing ever. I love it. So basically, the boat takes off, and we get some like voiceover from West Ridge. And, you get a lot of shots of them just like floating down the river on this like huge boat. There's a thunderstorm, and basically this is when they find John Voight stranded. And
that's why you don't pick up hitchhikers.
No. Especially
when they're John Voight.
Especially when they're John Voight. Especially when you're on a boat on the Amazon, because that just seems shady. And there's like ominous looks between like him and and there's Mateo, who is the boat driver.
There's one plot change I'd make right here, and it's that John Voight is actually the Anaconda in disguise.
100%.
I would watch that. That's
And-
Anaconda.
That's why he's doing the terrible accent.
And they're also in space.
Yes. The
Wow.
boat is in space.
Okay. Maybe
Space
we'll save
very
that for
convenient.
Anaconda 3.
Isn't there already like an
They have-
Anaconda 3?
There's like 4.
Is there really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Anaconda's Trail of Blood. With John Rhys Davies.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
good.
I'm not.
Also, Lake
Listen, I'm not
Placid
gonna watch
versus Anaconda.
Oh.
Yep. That's true. I forgot about those.
We
Those
are absolutely
face.
doing that at some point.
I just like. Oh, Anaconda. You know what? I think I might have seen Anacondas, but nothing past that. Ooh, David Hasselhoff in Anaconda 3 Offspring.
Yeah.
They can
Kinda.
taste your fear. That doesn't.
If
Okay,
your
anyways.
shitty monster movie or like creature movie makes it to at least 3, you're like legally obligated to have David Hasselhoff in your movie.
we should do shitty monster sequel month. Like all movies with David Hasselhoff. We can do Piranha 3 Double D,
Yes.
Anaconda 3 Offspring.
There's
I'm
probably
sure
like
there's 100 more.
there's like a shit ton of Lake Placid movies. He's
Dang.
probably in one of them. I'm in.
Okay.
I'm looking it up right now.
All right. Is his name Sarone?
Yeah, something like
John
that.
Voight.
Just call him John Voight.
John Voight. Basically,
I assume
there's
this
like.
is what John Voight is like in real life, so.
I think so. He's like very creepy, and throughout the movie, like J-Lo keeps catching him like staring at her, making like you know that scene in The Office where Dwight like puts the dummy face on and is like that's how he looks at her throughout the whole movie. It's gross.
His mouth shape in this movie bums me out.
So
He's the shoe-in for the Trump movie. Like he has to be
Oh
Trump.
my
They have the same
God.
head.
The problem
Yes.
is he would love to do that because he loves Trump.
Yes, but that's why we kill him at the end of the movie.
Yes.
twofer. So you just get this scene of John Voight like catching and butchering fish and talking about how he talks about snakes, and then he pretends like, well, they don't know. He said that I think the tribe is called Shirishama that they're looking for, and he's like, oh, I know where they are. I'll show you. And they're just like, okay. Kale and JLo make out for some reason. And then you get this like POV from the anaconda of like an anaconda like hunting and killing a panther. And Maytel was like asleep next to me, and whenever the panther roared, she like startled awake out of sleep and was just like freaked out. And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
I love that the panther gets the Rey Mysterio Jr. treatment. That
Really, 'cause
loses
just there.
loses an eyeball.
I thought that they were gonna like find the eyeball or something, like, but there just was no reason for that except for to torture that poor panther.
It's a deleted scene where John Voight eats it.
Oh, I
that makes
believe
sense.
that.
It's
I think
actually
that-
not even deleted. He just did that on set. And
That's
they
what
were
I was
like,
gonna say.
"That's
It
fucking
wasn't
weird,
even
John."
filmed.
I think he just did it, right? They come upon these like ominous totems of like a man getting eaten by an anaconda, and at that point I would have been like, see ya.
What's
Sorry,
happening?
somebody's like knocking on my wall.
The anaconda trying to break through your door.
It's like knock knock, hello, I'm not an anaconda, please answer. So Denise and Gary are like, let's go out into the woods to record quote unquote wild sounds, but really they're gonna go pork. And they get attacked, and you're like, oh my god, it's an anaconda, but it's just a wild boar that Sarone like shoots and is like really creepy. He's just like killing things the whole movie and being really gross about it. So they're just like floating along, and the boat like just like lurches to a stop because I don't know, there was like some sort of rope on the back of the boat that like got stuck in the propellers, and Kale is like, "Oh, I'm just gonna jump in and cut it," and I'm like, "Gross." He also talks about this catfish that will swim into a urethra
It's a real
and
thing.
Yeah, Candiru. Pass.
like how? How is it so small? And it's just like, zoop, how you
There's
doing?
like at least one confirmed thing about it, like if somebody like peeing into the water, it swam up their urine stream.
There, how?
It's
I
magic. I don't
With a
know.
vengeance.
With yeah,
That's probably where they got the idea for ghost shark. They're like, listen, if fish can swim up pee, or not
They
ghost
can
shark.
swim
Well,
out of it.
yeah. Okay, so he like jumps into the water and he's like trying to get the boat like fixed. And then he just starts choking randomly and you're like, what? He's choking. There's no snake or anything. And you're like, what's going on? So Ice Cube and Gary jump in and save him. And to my horror, they find that there's a fucking wasp in his throat. And he has been poisoned and he's not breathing. So, of course they intubate him with a pen, which is really gross.
this dude is
Um,
gonna have a fucking massive infection in that neck.
yeah, because he was just, well, he had a wetsuit on, but he was swimming around in some gross water. Like, ugh, okay, so then basically they like bandage him up and they're like, he's like in and out of coma for the rest of the movie. And they're like, okay, we have to turn around and take him to a hospital because like he got stung by a poison wasp and he got a pen shoved in his neck. Like, we have to go.
Ugh.
So, then John Voight's like, hey, why don't we take this route? And they're like, you tried to make us go that way before. And he was just like, yeah, well, we have to go that way.
I wish it was
So
just
they're
like, yeah.
It's like essentially.
I want to hear your impersonation of John Voight's accent in this movie.
I cannot. I could not even try. It's beyond comprehension. So they like go the way that he said he wanted to go. And after a while they come to this like bridge made out of sticks that it's like blocking the water. And JLo's like I thought you knew this river. Like, why is there this bridge there? And he's just like, I don't know, but we can blow it up. And because he's just got dynamite. And Gary's kind of like, yeah, I don't. Oh, so he gives Gary like some explosives, and he's like, jump in the water and like go put the explosives on the bridge. And he's kind of like, no, there's something weird in the water. And then
Katie, hold on a second.
I don't know. It could be dangerous. I know. But at least you'd be there to protect us. You need protection? It's been a long time since I had a woman.
what?
Enough of him talking about not fucking.
I'm in tears. That's
It's so good.
so stupid.
Um,
He improvised everything, right? Like,
Probably. He's probably
they
fucking
just let him fly off the handle.
just Gary Busey the whole thing.
He
I
gives
think
that
probably.
stupid monologue later, and it's just like, I know he walked on set as like, I've got some really good Jaws shit. All right.
Oh, I love it so much.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've had a woman.
You need protection. I can't even do it. Like, I don't even. It's just like out of my realm. I don't know.
He sounds more like shitty Brooklyn mafioso guy than
Yeah, it's a weird.
someone from Portugal.
Liam Neeson almost played him.
That would have been a strange movie.
Also, Harrison Ford and Jack Nicholson were considered, and Martin Sheen. Bill Murray was considered
a
to
white
play.
net.
Bill Murray was considered to be Danny.
I could see Bill Murray like no, I couldn't. I can't really see any of those people.
Almost all of the trivia stuff on IMDb is like who was considered for what role.
You know who I could see as Cerrone? Nicolas Cage.
Oh, there's no way he's got to be on here somewhere.
He auditioned for J-Lo.
He probably went for Anaconda voice.
Yeah, he wanted.
You know what the Anaconda voice should have been? That video that's like, I'm a snake.
Yes, Sir Sean Connery was almost Paul Cerrone. Literally turned it down.
Wow. I feel like he just like auditions to audition, and they're like, hey, you got it, and he's like, no thank you.
Yeah. I don't even think he
Rules
auditioned. They probably just sent him a script and he just never read it.
Yeah, he was like, snakes, no.
It rules he can go from Highlander to being like, no, I'm not going to be in your dumb fucking snake movie, okay?
Yeah, I did Zardoz, thank you.
Okay, so Gary puts the explosions on the bridge, and the bridge it's like a dam, and the dam explodes, and cue your barf bag. Snakes fly literally everywhere.
What?
There are snakes.
What's worse, this or the maggots and bones?
The maggots, 100%. You know what? No, because the maggots can't really hurt you. The snakes I mean, they're all like baby snakes, but like there's like we also have this like shot of Westridge with like a snake biting his finger, and Cerrone's like, let me see that, and he's like looking at it as the snake is just like biting and biting and biting, and he's just like, so vicious, or whatever he says, and I'm like, that guy's got a fucking snake on his finger, like, get it off, and he's just like chomping away. So the snakes for sure.
That's my favorite shot in the movie. It's like blurred out snake munching on the dude's fucking thumb in the foreground, and it's just John Voight like squinting with his weird fucking frown, just like, oh, that's a snake.
Oh, I hate his mouth so much.
Oh, it's pretty gross. So then they're all like pissed, right? Because they're like, listen, you knew there was snakes on this bridge and you made us blow it up. Like, what's your problem? And he just is sort of just like, whatever. So they move on. Like, they're not very mean to him, I feel like. They're just kind of like I don't know. So they keep going. They find the little like shack from the beginning where Danny Trejo was. And Cerrone and Mateo and Ice Cube are like, let's go investigate. Like, we need fuel. Let's go. So they jump into the water, which every time they get in the water, like, regardless of if there's anacondas, I'm just like, why? Why do they not have like little like safety boats or something on their big barge thing?
You could
that just seems
not get me into any water that I can't see through.
No, but that just seems like what do they do if, what happens later, the boat gets like bottomed out? Like, what do they do if the boat stops working?
You just kill yourself.
I mean,
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm way more worried about the dick fish than the anaconda.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds horrendous. I would rather be eaten whole and digested than have something just live with its spiky thorns inside my urethra.
Like, to be surprisingly, I'm not really worried about the dick fish that much, but I am worried about piranhas and anacondas and whatever gross little microscopic. Maybe that's what adds so much to this movie for me. There's just like so many things in the Amazon to be afraid of. Like, so many. I would never go there. Anyway.
What if there was a piranha small enough to swim into your urethra?
I think
that's terrible.
I mean, it's all bad.
Yeah, it's called a tapeworm.
Anything that's gonna go up there, it's not good.
A whole swarm.
A whole swarm. Anyway, okay, so they're in the water.
But
they go up
what
to
if
the
that
stand.
happened and then you could just pee out snakes?
I think it would be cool if the snakes like did your bidding at that point.
What if you just became like a puppet to the snake?
Well, you'd be dead, I think, so.
This sounds like a great movie to me,
100%.
is all I'm saying.
Because I'm imagining like the stuff situation, but snakes, so.
Snake puppets. TM. Copyright. I hope you suffer.
All right. Snake puppets. Okay, so you get this like snippet. You see a newspaper article of Mateo, Cerrone, and Danny Trejo together holding a snake, and you're like, oh, so they know each other. And like essentially they just like find a chest that has like weapons and shit in it, and so John Voight and Ice-T like take it
Ice Cube.
back to Ice Cube, might be. I wrote oh man, who knows what's going on here. I wrote like
Everything's downhill after that fucking John Voight clip.
I wrote IC for Ice Cube, but I, for some reason, wrote Danny Trejo. I just misread it. Anyways, they take it back to the boat. Mateo like stays behind, falls in immediately as Anaconda. So like this is the first time we see the Anaconda for real, and it's a mix of like, wow. Oh, it's a mix of like an animatronic. It's a mix of like the puppet and CG, and the CG does not look great. And but basically he just like gets squeezed and he's dead. So Ice Cube is like, oh, where's Mateo? Like, I'm gonna go back for him, and just he goes back into the water. Every time that he like goes in the water, I'm like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
that was the real mystery of the whole movie, was when they're gonna kill off the one black guy.
I know, and that's why when Mateo went first, I was like, oh. But Mateo also was not white, so doesn't really matter, I guess. So yeah, he goes back, but only finds his flashlight, and like John Voight just like unrolls this like tapestry of Anaconda skin, and it's just like got
like a fucking
like,
red carpet.
He did. He was just like floop, and then he's just like, well, Mateo got 8, and they're like, what? And he like then he just like goes into like some specifics about how the Anaconda like actually kills people, which gross, I can't imagine. J-Lo is basically just like, okay, well, we're gonna wait here until morning, which like if he doesn't come back in like an hour, I feel like you probably could have moved on. I don't know why being in the like waiting till the morning was necessary.
What if he's getting his full 8 hours?
I guess. So they're gonna wait till morning with like lights on the boat so Mateo can like find the boat or whatever, and then like shocker, he doesn't show up. But that night, John Voight basically is just like, hey, Owen Wilson, guess what?
We should make dodgeball.
Get me some pizza. Just kidding. So he's like, guess what? If we capture this Anaconda, like we can make $1 million. Like, do you want to? And he's like, hell yeah, man. And then it's like a buddy comedy of like them. Just kidding. So there's like this weird, like John Voight just like shoots a monkey out of a tree, and
again, that wasn't an act. He just did that.
He just shot, and they're just like,
that was a real monkey.
They're just like,
They're like,
that's fine.
Work it into the movie, I guess.
Because I'm pretty sure those are the same monkeys from Outbreak, and I hate them. So
that's a good plan by John Voight.
Yeah.
He's gonna disease the Anaconda.
Ooh. So and then Gary's just like, hey, you know, it would be great if instead of filming this tribe that we got money to come film, we just filmed John Voight catching a snake. And they're like, I don't know about that. But then John Voight's like, I have a gun, like, we're gonna do this. And he just like takes over the whole crew.
I like that he takes over the crew with only one of their help, with just Owen Wilson. Everyone's like, well, we can't do anything about this. Surprisingly, we came to the Amazon, and the only weapon we brought was Ice Cube's tiny pocket knife.
Like, not prepared at all. And he's just got like a tiny little like gun, and he's just like, do this. And they're like, well, I guess. So now they're gonna go hunt the Anaconda. So John Voight is like just fishing for the snake with a winch, which is terrifying. And he catches something, and they're like, they all seemed like very shocked that he catches an anaconda, even though that's like literally what he was doing. They're all of a sudden just like, "Oh my God, he caught a snake. What are you doing?" I'm like, "What did you think he was doing?" So basically, the anaconda has the monkey, right? And he's just like, "Rah, rah," like making orca sounds, and they're all freaking out. It's like splashing in and out of the water. And Ice Cube's like, "Oh my gosh, like cut it free, get it away from us." So he goes to like cut it free, but he gets like tail whipped. And then the anaconda, oh my God, ugh. The anaconda pops out of the water and just like spits the dead monkey in Westridge's face.
The
And
best scene.
That's
I
my
was like,
second favorite thing
perfect.
in the movie.
it was like slow motion. I could just like feel that, ugh, gross. Then the anaconda like whips it around and like comes face to face with JLo. But then John Voight like tranks it in the mouth. And there's just like all this commotion going on. Denise gets like knocked into the water. Gary goes after her, and he gets anacondaed. It looks really bad. I think for me this was like the worst looking scene. Because he gets like wrapped. I don't know. It just looked like really bad. And J-Lo, so he gets like wrapped up around a pole or
Yeah, it was
post
like
that's
a
like on the
tree or
boat or
something.
something.
Was it? One of them's
I
a
don't
tree.
know.
Was the
It was on the
Mateo the
boat.
tree?
The tree is like
I think
later
so.
on too. I don't know, but he gets like wrapped around something, and JLo's gonna like shoot it, and then John Voight's like, "No, like I don't get any money if this thing is dead," and like hits her or whatever he does, and Owen Wilson and the snake like fall into the water, and they're done. And then I
But
think you get
you lead to the best shot of the entire movie of the anaconda swimming away with Owen Wilson's CGI body in the middle of it.
yeah.
Oh my
It is
God.
It
my
was,
that's what I was talking about earlier. It is.
oh
I
no,
lost my mind.
Kit and I were on the same page with the shot, and it was
Yeah.
not this one.
Oh God, I was like, that happened, and I forgot all about it, and I was like, this is like cinema at its finest.
I almost missed it because I like looked down to take a note and I just saw like the very end of it, so I like skipped back to watch it and I was like, "Oh
Owen
Lord."
Wilson's face like pressed into like the skin of the snake. I will never not
Like-
be thinking about.
Fucking
Like
Han Solo and Carbon
Yes.
Heights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, it's so good. Like the first half
I'm
of this
gonna get
movie,
that tattooed on my leg.
the first half when I was watching it, I was like, okay, it's like something's like just something happened. This is fucking boring. And then this started happening, and I saw that, and I was like, all right, this is good. I'm on board.
Okay, good. Glad to have you. So basically, Denise is like yelling at John Voight, like because they were in love now or whatever, and he's basically just like, "LOL, I don't care." Oh yeah, and then I shot up underwater after he eats Gary. Okay, so then JLo just randomly is like putting on lipstick that's like the same color as her lips. So I'm not really sure like what was going on with that. And this is like possibly the worst, like, aside from like the intubation and the dead monkey in your face and all this is the grossest scene ever because JLo goes in there to pretend to seduce John Voight.
This is a pretty
And-
fucking deliberate or like deliberate's not the right word, but like this plan is insane the way it works out, and they're like, that worked perfectly.
Yeah, so she goes in there and she's like trying to like smooth talk him basically as she's like subtly like she's like moving the ship like wheel slowly. She's just like pretending to like sensually touch buttons and stuff as she walks up to him. And so I don't know what she says, but they kiss. And then while they're doing that, Ice Cube is like sneaking up behind him with a bat that has a nail in it. But John Voight like sees his reflection and like goes to like swing at him, but Westridge comes in with a club and just like hits him, and then they tie him up. And I was like, what?
Like the idea that this plan had to involve John Voight seeing Ice Cube sneaking up on him and then backing up to the window to get clubbed in the back of the head.
I just assumed that they like planned. I didn't assume that was part of their plan. I thought that was just like if it happens and you wait with your golf club.
I could be wrong, but somebody after they do it says like that worked perfectly or some shit like that. Where I was like, wait, what?
Oh.
A lot of moving parts in this plan.
Yeah.
Ice Cube is a genius. I don't know.
I mean, so there's just like a scene of JLo like yelling at John Boyd about how he plotted everything, which like fucking duh, like how stupid. Anyway, and so then they like stumble upon this waterfall. Earlier in the movie, there was like this thing between Kale and John Voight about like the legend about how to find this tribe or whatever that involved like the waterfall. So they come to the waterfall. This is when the pontoon boat thingy like bottoms out, and JLo, Ice Cube, and Westridge are like, okay, I don't know what they're gonna do. They jump in the water to do something to like get the boat unclogged. I don't know. I kind of didn't pay attention at this part.
Is this the part where the boat gets like bottomed out and they have to like jump into like use the winch or whatever to like get both sides and
okay, so yes,
carry like, or Denise fucking.
So yeah, she's just like, you killed Owen Wilson, I loved him, and is gonna like come at her, but then he just like chokes her out with his ankles, and I was like, what?
He does this incredible, like he's sitting with his arms tied behind a post.
Yeah.
And he just like leaps up flat off of his ass 6 feet and gets her in like a Hurricane Rana and like chokes her out.
This is why the tagline is butt, because he just used his like gluteus to like, you know.
Yeah, got strong cheeks.
Yeah.
I
Clapped
would
her to death.
pay so much money to watch John Voight try to do that in real life.
Yes.
So yeah, he just like chokes her out and she dies, and then he just like kicks her into the water, and I was like, well, that was fast. And so then, you know, of course the Anaconda shows up and is like, wee. I guess that's a guinea pig. I don't know. It didn't sound
I think
like
it just
what I
changes every time.
Could be.
The Anaconda is a chameleon.
Ooh. So he shows up, and Westridge is like, oh my God. Okay, so I think everyone else gets up on the boat, but Westridge is like on the shore sort of. So they're like yelling at him, and he like is like climbing up these like waterfall rocks. And this is like one of the scenes that I remember vividly. He like climbs up behind the waterfall, and then the snake, you can like see it outside the waterfall, and then it just like sticks its head in, and it's like, hey. And he's like, ah, and he like jumps out into the air, and the Anaconda just like gets him in the air.
It's a good catch.
Yeah, just like, and he catches him in midair, and then John Voight also like frees himself at this point and is like struggling with JLo and Ice Cube on the boat. So there's like a lot of stuff going on, and the snake, like in order for the snake to catch him, the snake is like wrapped around a tree, but then the weight from the snake and Westridge like makes the tree fall, and it like falls on the boat, and so everyone is like flung into the water essentially. Meanwhile, Kale is still like passed out because, you know, wasp and intubation on the Amazon. JLo like makes it back. Oh, this scene I thought was super cool. So JLo like makes it back up onto the boat, and she like Ice Cube is like in the water, like, oh my God, there's like an anaconda, and he's like trying to swim towards the boat, and Denise's dead body just like floats up, and she's just like, oh my God. And so the anaconda like wraps around Ice Cube, but it's like sees Denise's body and starts just like chomping on her body and like slapping it around and stuff. And so like maybe the reason I liked this scene is because like it's the practical effects, like Anaconda that's like wrapped around him or whatever, and then it's just like flopping Denise's body, and so JLo like gets a gun and just like shoots it in the head a bunch of times and saves Ice Cube, so he's safe. John Boyd is like pissed because the snake is dead. I think he said something like, you killed my warrior Anaconda or something, I don't know. And he is like mad, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you, and he's gonna shoot Ice Cube, but then Kale suddenly wakes up and shoots him with like this dart, and Ice Cube punches him into the water.
Okay.
And
so, serious question. How did
Yes.
John Voight get back to this fucking giant ass place later in the movie?
I don't know.
So I've been theorizing
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
past couple minutes. The reason John Voight was able to kill her so fast with his thighs is because his legs are anacondas.
That checks out. That explains how he was able to swim past the boat.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Like, he's definitely like a hunter, so I guess maybe because he like falls in the water, he never resurfaces. We don't see him again. So maybe he was like holding on to like a rope. Or I have no idea, but
ideally, he was tranquilized at least a little bit. Like, it doesn't make sense. At this point, he should have been dead for sure. And then they should have stumbled across this place and be like, we're going to go in to look for fuel. And then just got, like, swarmed by anacondas. Anacondae.
He seems like the kind of guy...
Yeah.
Anacondos. He seems like the kind of guy, like, who would poison himself to, like, build up tolerance.
Yes.
I don't
100%.
John Voight or the character?
Probably both. I mean...
The trank darts to go to sleep every night, so they don't work anymore.
Like,
I need to try that, though, for real.
I really think this movie would have been, like, more enjoyable for me if that was the point where John Voight had just, like, been out of the movie, and then it just became, like, them versus the snakes.
I agree, because, like, I really feel like the only reason... And when he falls in, they know he's not dead, right? Because Ice Cube is like, oh man, the trank fell out. They know he's coming back. The only reason, like, he doesn't really add anything to the end of it except for the kill.
I think I know what you guys are referring to now, because once I start talking about it, I was going to be like, oh, well, like, him living at least gives us this blank scene, but...
Right, because, like, if he had just died because he got tranked and punched into the water, that's, like, not good. Like, I hate that. But we get such a good... I just felt so good the way that he died that, like, I really feel like that was the point. So who knows? He falls in the water. We don't ever see them. They sail away because they're just like, what else can they do? This is when they come to I don't even know what this was. It's like a huge building that's, like, you know, decrepit at this point. And so at this point, it's J-Lo, Ice Cube, and then Kale has, like, gone back into a coma. And they come up to this building, and J-Lo's like, hey, like, let's go see if there's fuel there. So they go into the building. J-Lo, like, finds this huge snake skin and is like, oh man. And they do find fuel, but then, you know, fucking John Voight shows back up, of course. He, like, it does this weird thing where it, like, punches the camera, and I'm like, did he knock them both out at the same time, or, like, what happened there? Like, I don't know. So J-Lo and Ice Cube, like, wake up, and they're, like, tied together, and fucking John Voight has killed another monkey. There's, like, monkey blood dripping in this bucket, and then he just, like douses them in monkey blood, and it's so freaking gross. I don't even know. I didn't even write, like, anything they said. Like, I don't know. He's just, like, trying to get... Because, you know, at this point, obviously, J-Lo killed one of the snakes. There's another snake. So he's trying to, like, lure out the other snake to capture it. And so the snake comes. They get Anaconda. They're all, like, wrapped up. It, like... Man, if they had, like, used, like, the puppet snake at this point and not CG, this would have been really cool, because the snake, like, descends from the ceiling, and it's, like, a really high, like, warehouse ceiling, so, like, if it wasn't really bad CGI, it would have been, like, super scary looking. But it comes down, gets them, and then John Voight has rigged a net and has trapped, like, both the snake and J-Lo and Ice Cube, like, in the net together, and he's like, haha, but then the snake, like, breaks out of the net or something, and John Voight's like, oh man, this fucking sucks, and he's like, starts climbing. He, like, starts climbing up the ladder, and the snake is like, I don't think so, bro, and just, like, chomps on him. And Kit, do you want to take this? To me, when I saw this scene, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah, this is the most fantastic camera angle I think I've ever seen in a film. I like to call it the deep throat angle. The camera is just like 7 feet into the neck of this fucking snake, so you just see like the inside of its throat descending down over John Voight.
Like his whole head and stuff. It's crazy. And then we actually see him get like completely. This is like the first time we see the snake like completely swallow somebody. So then Ice Cube. Oh yeah, there was like some other stuff that happened, and then Ice Cube and JLo are like, let's get out of here, but Ice Cube like falls and stays behind, and JLo keeps running, and the snake is like chasing JLo into a room, and this is where like she shuts the door. There's like all these baby snakes in there, and the anaconda just like busts through the wall and is like, "Bleep!" And I'm like, that's when I was like, can it do that? I mean, I guess it can. I don't know.
It's got momentum on its side.
Yeah, that's true. Just like busts through, and she's like, oh my god, and then the anaconda throws up John Voight's entire body, and his gross acid melted face just like plops right on her stomach. And wow, I was not expecting that at all.
He fucking winks at
wink
her.
Is...
And then when she runs away, his
So
body
creepy.
like smacks on the ground, and the sound of it, I just was like, oh my god. So like oh my gosh. So wow. I'm just wow.
Cinema.
It, like
Scorsese
truly,
would be so stoked.
I think that this like whole movie is worth watching for this like 10 minutes of what happens in this like factory. So then basically JLo is like, like, well, gross. Is like running. She like goes up the smokestack, and Ice Cube is basically just like, hey, like climb up there, like I got this, and like pickaxes the tail of the anaconda so it's like stuck, and like dumps fuel all over the place, and he's got like a hose that he like sets on fire, and there's like just like a scene of JLo like not being able to like escape the smokestack or whatever, but then she gets on top, and the snake. This is where I'm like, okay, but then the snake like busts through like an iron door, and I'm like, okay, maybe old wood, but iron, I don't know.
It's gained the strength of an anaconda plus John Voight.
Yeah,
but
it's got John Voight's leg power now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, because it's also just like stretched all the way. I don't know. I guess I just don't. I don't know. And so basically, Ice-T is like outside of the building now, and he's just like, jump, and she's like, I can't, I'm scared. Ice Cube, sorry. getting my ices mixed up. Is like yelling at her. She's like hanging on by a rope, but then there's an explosion, so she lets go and falls into the water. And then like the snake also is on fire and falls into the water by her, but like the snake isn't completely submerged, so it's just like still on fire. And I was like, you'd think the snake would want to get like all the way in the water to like not be on fire, but it doesn't do that. It's just like really wants to get JLo at this point. So I don't know. Ice Cube pulls JLo like out of the water, and the snake kind of is just like blah 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 blah, and like sinks down into the water. And then they're just like, well, now okay. And Ice Cube's like, I'm gonna go get some fuel. Like that was totally normal and fine what just happened to us. But then the snake, of course, like busts through the dock, and JLo's like, ah, and Ice Cube just like axes it in the head again, and then goes, bitch, which was my favorite line, and I laughed very hard. And the snake is finally dead. And then this like last part I really did not think was necessary at all. But Kale is awake again, and they're like out on the boat like, life is fine. And then they see the Sherry Shama tribe like in boats. Like they found the tribe, and they're like, oh man, that guy was a dick, but he was right, I guess. Like, here's the tribe. And then the boat just like sails into the sunset, and it's the end. And that was Anaconda.
Should have had a post-credit scene of John Voight winking again.
Just his
He's
like
just laying there
melted
winking.
face. Love it. Well,
Oh boy, what a journey.
it was quite the journey.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't feel like I need to watch it anytime soon, but I'll, de-
I'm watching it right
I'll
now.
definitely watch it again.
I
Like
definitely
while we're recording, I'm gonna put it on.
You should just
Do
play
it.
the whole movie under the entire episode.
I love it.
Katie,
Yes.
what the fuck's going on with Zach Baggins?
Oh my gosh. So I don't know all of it because I didn't really I just I didn't really do that much digging, but okay, so you guys are familiar with Annabelle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for anyone who's not, Annabelle, I feel like everyone, Annabelle is like a haunted doll, and she's like very infamous. And you know, there was like, I guess Annabelle is owned by, I don't even remember the guy's name. Basically,
Walt
like,
Disney.
Yeah, probably.
she's like frozen in carbonite with him. Ed and Lorraine Warren were like this paranormal investigation team. They've been in like The Conjuring. They're famous for being like Amityville, Enfield Poltergeist, like all of that stuff. And they've come under a lot of scrutiny because like, you say what you will, if you believe in paranormal stuff, if you don't, like the movies obviously are movies, but like this is like documented stuff that they actually went and were like doing paranormal and demonic investigations or whatever. And of course, you know, there's like a lot of scrutiny because maybe they're frauds and, you know, whatever. And I've heard a lot of stuff about like Ed being just like a piece of shit, which you know, don't, rest in peace if you're not, like, please don't come to my house. But their son-in-law, so they, you know, collected stuff from their paranormal journeys, and they had like a museum in the house that they lived in that has like a bunch of like haunted stuff. And I think it's their son-in-law owns it now. And whenever like they originally did an episode on Annabelle, like on Ghost Adventures, I guess the son-in-law like came out and said a bunch of shit about like Ghost Adventures, and I don't know what any of it was because I don't know like what his like personal accounts are or anything. But then apparently they did another episode recently with Annabelle where like one of the like number one rules whenever there's like a haunted doll involved is like, don't touch it, like don't do anything to it. Like you can look at it, but like be respectful, be nice. And I guess Zach, like spoiler for anyone who's gonna watch, like I don't know, I don't watch any of it live, so I don't know when this aired or whatever. But I guess Zach touched Annabelle, and which is like a big no-no, and he like released this whole thing that was basically just like, bro, like she just like spoke to me, and in the moment, like you don't know what it's like to be on camera with these things, and I felt in the moment it was right to touch her, so he did. And so I guess the son-in-law like just went on a tirade about like how they're trash, how the crew's trash, they're disrespectful, like this, that, and the other thing. Like I said, I don't know what his I don't know what his post was, but Zach was basically just like, I'm tired of this guy talking trash about us. Like this is whatever. So that's this whole thing is because he touched a haunted doll. So I feel like if there's any like, if there's any substance behind the doll being haunted, I feel like I wouldn't care because like he's gonna get fucked up. You know what I mean? Like whatever. That's the
What
that's the
what a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
sounds really stupid.
I mean it is crazy. Like I don't know. It's pretty the whole thing is just very strange. So needless to say, I'm not doing a Zach Baggin tweet because he, you know, released this like whole. I didn't even read the whole thing. Like I couldn't. It was just so long. But
That's good because I got a lot of Weekly World News.
I have a lot of news too, actually.
Well,
so you do that first.
Weekly
Yeah.
World News: man possessed by magic 8-ball.
Oh,
Shouldn't
okay.
have touched it.
That's right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Just don't touch anything.
Airlines now.
Don't.
What? Go ahead. What was that?
Oh, I was gonna say it's don't whiz on the electric fence, but with a haunted doll in place of the fence.
Right.
Airlines to offer outdoor seating.
I like that.
American bears vow to not attack campers wearing masks.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
nice.
New York Times reporter eaten alive by 80-foot dinosaur.
Good.
Finally.
80 foot.
The picture is just an iguana eating a person.
I was
I mean,
hoping it meant like it had 80 feet.
It should. Dolphin sighted wearing old campaign gear. It's just a picture of a dolphin with an I like Ike button. Vampires leaving Los Angeles. I don't know what that's about. There's a
I don't blame them though. LA's
They found somewhere better.
very
LA priced them out.
very disturbing picture for Barney the dinosaur gets jacked and is now dating Cardi B.
Oh,
good for
there's
them.
a lot happening.
I'm gonna send you.
In that.
I'm gonna send you guys the picture in the chat because it's very disturbing.
Wow.
But yeah, there's a lot of Weekly World News nonsense.
Oh man. Well, let's see. My news is it's been a while.
Yeah,
First
we
I
haven't
just wanna-
recorded in like 2 weeks or something like that, so
Yeah.
I hate Jacked Barney.
it's so
I hate it.
weird.
Why is he standing like that?
Gotta show off how ripped he is.
Yeah.
You worked hard for those abs.
I don't really understand like what's going on with his like his
Crotch
shape.
area.
Everything.
Crotch area is
I
bothering
was
me.
trying to think of how to say that nicely because it looks like he's wearing tidy whities, but like obviously he's not. So how does that
It-
I
work?
can't wait to make the description of this episode this week. We're standing Barney's crotch area.
Oh my god.
Also, he looks very tired. His eyes are very, like, sunk into his head.
I mean,
He's like, kill me.
he's got to be so old now.
I mean that's that's a mood. I feel that. So I want to remind everyone that the Kickstarter for Carousel 2 is still up, and I think they're like 50% funded, and I'm excited because I backed it.
Yeah,
They're pro
Um,
spoopy, just so you know.
No,
I don't know if you saw.
I know, it's just another demon I have to wrestle with right now.
You're gonna lose
So
this battle. Spoopy wins.
Oh,
I just didn't
God.
realize that. I don't know why, but phonetically, I just hate it. I hate, like
You don't like being spooped.
I don't. It's just like poop, spoop. Like, can we just spook? It's spooky,
That's why it's funny.
but it's not funny.
It's got poop right there.
I'm just gonna double
I don't-
down on Katie's stance and just say that all Halloween stuff is dumb. At me
Listen.
instead.
Yeah, please come for Nathan because you guys, I fully back Halloween and all of that stuff. I think it just doesn't need to be polarizing. I understand that, but it's just like, some people don't like the word moist, which I don't mind, but I just don't like it. I just hate it, and I think it's stupid. But that being said, I do you, I guess, but I just challenge you to not say it. It's a challenge, whatever. Let's see. Scream Factory is releasing a collector's edition of Tales from the Dark Side, which I'm really excited about because they're including like a documentary on it. And I'm not really somebody that normally like buys stuff more than once. Like if I already own it, I'm just, I don't usually rebuy, but I think I will buy that because it's like my favorite anthology. That comes out on August 25th. Another DVD release. So this happened like last year, I think. They did that reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark, which I never saw anywhere, so I don't know how people watched it, but they're coming out with the DVD on August 11th for that. And so it's going to include like that original thing that came out, and then 3 other tales they redid, which is Tale of Laughing in the Dark, Ghastly Grinner, and Dead Man's Float, which Dead Man's Float is my absolute favorite, and I also really like Ghastly Grinner. They posted a picture of like the ghost from Dead Man's Float that they redid, and I didn't really like it because he's like one of my favorite ghost figures ever, and I feel like they kind of did him an injustice, but the DVD collection is like $13, so I think I'll get it.
Why not? Why the regular original series isn't available in full in the US? Like, release that.
Well,
Release
I
all
think
the old Nickelodeon shows. Where's the second volume of Pete and Pete at? God damn it!
I need Dude Ranch. Or Hey Dude.
Hey
Dude
Dude is
Ranch.
on. You can find that, like a whole collection of that.
Can I?
Yeah, I almost bought
Why
it.
didn't anyone tell me?
You work at a,
You didn't even tell
I saw
me.
it at a Best Buy once.
Wow.
The fuck? I stay in the warehouse, all right? I don't go
That's-
out there.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
They keep kitten boxes in the back, so.
Bro, that wooden crate's delightful. Okay, I go in there and take naps.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I can't figure it out. I don't know why they're doing us this way, but let's see. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are going to they're doing a show where they hunt ghosts called Truth Seekers. That's going to be on Amazon, and I'm actually really excited for that.
Do we need more ghost hunting shows?
Yeah.
Why don't they?
Do we need more comedy ghost hunting shows? Yes.
I mean, if it's a movie, I'm on board. If it's just like another fucking Ghost Adventures type show, like
no, I mean obviously it's Simon. It's a made up. It's not.
Oh, so it's gonna be like a scripted thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different. I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
It's just like when people are like, "I'm starting a true crime podcast," and I'm like, "Do you need to?"
The answer is no. Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like just an actual series. It's gonna be on Amazon, so I don't think. Do they have like reality like stuff
On Amazon?
Yeah.
I mean, they have like, Ghost Adventures or like Rock of Love and shit on there, but I don't know if they have like originals.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so I'm excited for that because like I don't know, do you guys remember Ghosted that had Adam Scott and Craig Johnson in it?
Craig Robinson?
Yep, what did I say?
Johnson?
Whatever, you knew what I was talking about. I loved that show, and they canceled it after one season, and it made me really sad. So I'm sort of like hoping that this will do better because, like, I don't know, I really like all the Simon Pegg stuff. I think he's great.
Yeah, I'll watch that. I like Simon Pegg and like Nick Frost and all that whole crew.
Yeah. So Universal, it obviously canceled their Halloween Horror Nights, which is pretty sad because this was going to be the 30th year of them doing it. So it sucks they had to cancel an anniversary, but it's good because like we shouldn't be going to theme parks. But anyways, they're going to do like a tribute shop online where you can go and get like 30th anniversary stuff for that. So if you are someone who went to that kind of stuff, like please, like I think that you can still go to the shop in person, but like please don't do that. Just order it online. My last thing is, have you guys seen anything about Corey Taylor's, like, from Slipknot's new debut single?
Hard pass.
I've
on
just heard it was dog
you're
shit.
Talking about.
Okay, listen, let me just read you this, the opening paragraph. So this is on Bloody Disgusting, obviously. Slipknot's frontman Corey Taylor has just released a video for CMFT Must Be Stopped, featuring, I think it's pronounced Tech Nine and Kid Buki, but first single off his debut album, which features cameos from special effects legend Tom Savini, Metallica's Lars Ulrich, Marilyn Manson, Chris Jericho, and more. And I watched the video for his first song, and it's not great.
I was waiting for you to be like, I kind of liked it.
No, it kind of sounds like if you turned on the radio in like the early 2000s and like it's like butt rock essentially.
Yeah, so a Corey Taylor song.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so the reason that it stood out to me is because I watched that is it In Search of Darkness?
Oh, the documentary.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome to Darkness.
Welcome to the darkness. We got fun and games.
I hate it. No. Yeah, I watched that.
You watched all 8 hours of In Search of Darkness? In Search of the Dark.
God, it was so long. I did. I watched it all in one sitting, and the reason I thought that was like crazy, first of all, it was very long, but they do cover so many movies, and like some, obviously they cover like every single like Halloween and Friday the 13th movie, which like I didn't think was necessary, but they did cover a lot of stuff that I felt like it's like a pretty good thing to watch if you're like just starting to get into horror, like to go back and like watch some of the things that sort of like laid the foundation or whatever. And it's like really good. There's like so many people in it. You know, it's not just like directors and stuff. There are like actors and actresses and like so many people that I was like, oh my gosh, that person and that person. So like it's definitely worth watching, even though it was like 20 hours long. But I thought it was weird because Corey Taylor is in the documentary, and I was like,
I mean, he's like a lot like this is like a he did. I don't think he's done anything necessarily like a directed a movie, but he's like a pretty vocal like horror fan. Kind of like how
I
like
mean,
Rob
like
Zombie was before he started making movies.
yeah, I just was like when I first saw him, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. I just thought, but I mean, it just makes sense because like he was there, you know, like doing the interviews or whatever. So that's why he like had all these people with him.
I would rather
But I just was like,
I would rather people write articles like that about Corey Taylor than like whatever Metal Sucks article about how Corey Taylor said something vaguely centrist about how Trump is the head Cheeto in charge or some shit.
oh, okay. My last thing is that, yeah, wow. So that song is available on Bloody Disgusting if you want to listen to it, but
don't worry, don't bother.
I think probably don't. And my last thing is that there's not like a lot of details on this, but Bloody Disgusting and Cinedigm are creating like a free horror streaming service. When I first read the article, I was like, God, another streaming service, but it's free, so I'm like totally down with it. That's gonna have like original content, but also classics and like contemporary stuff. So I'm sure they'll release more info about that later.
I have a feeling it'll probably be kind of like Pluto TV, where it'll be like, or like Shudder's live TV thing, where it'll probably just be like stuff playing continuously that you just jump in and out of, as opposed to like picking.
Right.
Which I'm fully on board with. I like every once in a while I like to just put on like Shudder's TV thing and just let it like play throughout the day.
Yeah, I like that too. My only problem with it is that like somehow a lot of times I'll tune in and it's like Phantasm or whatever, and I'm like, wow, I've seen this like 12 times. Can we? It's just like always the same movies for me. But I do like that you can just like sometimes you just want something and you don't want to pick, so it's just like bloop, Shudder sponsor us.
Also, I guess yeah. Besides that, last thing in news is John Saxon died.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Watch. I don't want to say Nightmare on Elm Street, but I feel like that's the one most people are gonna.
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, that too. Those were like the two movies I saw a lot. Watch New Nightmare. New Nightmare rules.
Oh yeah. Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. I guess before shout outs, since it's been like a long time since we recorded, what you guys watched, and like since I don't know if Katie really watched much since you were off getting corona'd.
No, I mean I watched that documentary, and then did you watch Host? Did we all watch Host?
Yeah, we'll get to Host. I want to hear about the
okay.
Kit. What else have you watched? Because we'll do Host last.
I watched Blood Vessel last night. It was real stupid. I'm so mad that they wasted such a good poster and a good vampire design and a good pun name. It's like way overly serious, like World War II movie. It's like, don't do this. You've got Nazi vampires on a boat. Like, this needs to be as ridiculous as that plot is.
That sucks. That poster looks so good too.
Right? I was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and buy it because it's like $6 or whatever. I want my $6 back.
Man.
Do you have anything else?
What else have I watched? Impetigore.
Yes.
Ruled. We haven't got a chance to talk about it on the podcast yet.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's maybe my favorite horror movie I've seen this year.
Yeah, same.
Wow.
It's gorgeous. Like, it is. Like, the story is great alone, but like all of the scenery, like, it just looks amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Other than that, the pool is good until the last like 17 minutes.
Yeah, I like the pool a lot too. The pool is a perfect movie if you just want to watch somebody just in the absolute worst position throughout an hour and 17 minutes.
No.
It's just like constant, like every decision he makes backfires splendidly. I watched all of that. I watched Lake of Death Don't worry, it sucks. Don't bother. Don't...
Oh, I thought you meant all that as like the show, all that, and I was like, oh, okay.
I watched or rewatched Alien Covenant, which
Hell yeah.
is good. I watched Ice Cream Man, also very good. Rewatched Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Amazing.
Yes, perfect movie. I watched the 2015 Fantastic Four movie because I had not seen it before, and found it way better than most people said it was. Also, the Thing walks around with no underwear on, but doesn't have a dick, so it lost a star for that.
He's got a real Barney problem.
Yeah.
I watched House 3, which I had not seen before, apparently, because it is barely a House movie. But it has Lance Henriksen cursing a lot in it, and is basically the plot to Shocker, so that's pretty good. I watched a Tom Green live stand-up special.
Wow.
And it was fine.
Really?
I don't know. It's Tom Green yelling a lot. Making jokes about landlines for some reason. I watched another Lance Henriksen movie called Paranormal Island that was horrendous. I got duped by Lance Henriksen, per usual. Rewatched Demons and then followed it up with Demons 2. Which I still feel like Demons is better, but Demons 2 was pretty good.
I haven't seen either of them still.
I want to do Demons 2 on the podcast at some point, so we'll do like you could do like a catch up of Demons and then Demons 2.
Yeah, I sort of figured. So stuff like that I've been keeping that are like have been on my list. I've been avoiding. So.
Then I watched Heat last night, and then I watched Host. So let's talk about Host.
Okay.
I did not like it.
Aw, I did like it.
It was aggressively fine. Like it was.
Okay.
It like. I feel like the first Unfriended movie did what they were trying to do better. But
I haven't seen that.
I think, like what Host did, like with the four. Oh, good.
I was gonna say, if you haven't seen The Host, I don't know that we'll do spoilers, but like you didn't tune in for spoilers, so maybe skip.
Yeah, maybe just jump ahead 5 minutes or something. I don't know. Like I don't plan on spoiling it, but we might.
Okay, we'll just do non-spoiler.
Like I feel like people are giving it a lot of credit for something that's other people did before it, but like what they were able to accomplish with essentially just Zoom, I think is impressive, and it's not like a bad movie, but like everyone's losing their shit about it, and I'm like, this was fine. It's got a good runtime.
Yeah, I watched it last night, and when I was like done, Chris was like, "Oh, you're done already?" And I was like, "Yeah." Well, for me, like I haven't seen Unfriended. I haven't really seen a lot of like what other camera movies were there? I know one of the Paranormal Activities was like
I think
webcam
4
based.
was the webcam one.
Right, and I haven't seen Unfriended, and then this one. Are there other ones?
There's a second
Haunted Camera.
Yeah, Haunted Camera.
Is that real?
No. Should
No.
be.
Okay, I was like,
there's a second Unfriended, but I haven't seen that yet. There's like I know there's another one. I can't think of the name of it. It starts with an S.
There's another not strictly horror one that is. I think it stars like Harold from Harold and Kumar.
It's something like Security or something along those lines, I think.
That I tweeted it yesterday, but there are too many webcam horror movies. There are too many.
So
one is too many.
one is too many.
If Host was the only movie that I know was going to be made like this coming out of like the coronavirus thing, I'd be like, okay, good for them. This was cool. Like, it's a fun watch. It's not like a bad movie, but like, we're going to just get a fucking barraged with this shit now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that doesn't really bother me. And like the fact that there's other movies like this doesn't personally bother me. Like I've said, I love found footage and or security footage and or webcam stuff. So for me, like, I don't really care if there's a lot. But I watched it like on my iPad with headphones in, which I feel is the way the movie was supposed to be watched, because like you need to be able to hear all the subtle things that happen in it. And by no means do I think it's like the best movie I've seen this year. I assume people are saying that. I don't know. I really liked it though, and there was a lot of parts that like actually gave me goosebumps, which I can't say has happened in a really long time. But like, you know, could just be because of the format I was watching it in. And my only problem with the movie really though is like, as non-spoiler as I can be, I don't really agree with the way that the the medium is saying that this whatever this thing is that's like attacking them or whatever. I don't really agree with like the plot line of how it came to be. And I also don't really agree that whoever the dude was, um, I don't really agree that he should have been part of it. So those were like my two issues with it. But
I am gonna say something spoilery, so
Okay.
I guess skip a little bit if you don't want to hear it. It's not totally a spoiler, but the one thing I did really like in it was the like Snapchat type filter that pops up.
That was a good gag.
Like the thing that I liked about Unfriended that this movie didn't do was Unfriended, like all of the cameras stay stationary from what I remember. Like they don't get up and walk around the house and shit, which is what I didn't want them to do. I wanted the camera to be their laptop staying in place and shit happening behind them or whatever. Like I didn't want them to get up and like walk through the house. Like I feel like it defeats the purpose of what the idea of like a Zoom call like horror movie should have been. Like Unfriended does a lot of stuff where it jumps between, because Unfriended takes place on a computer screen, and so it's like teenagers and the one person controlling it is like jumping between like iChat and like the, you know, they're essentially like a Zoom call, like the iMessenger shit, like on the iMac, and like it'll jump into like Spotify where they're playing music. It does a bunch of shit like that, which is like whatever, but like none of the cameras move, at least in my memory. If they do, it's very minimal. Like I hated it every time like the one character would like pick up the laptop and walk through the house, and I was just like, no, like don't, I hate it.
I was fine with that too. I don't know. I just like, because one of the girls was like definitely on her phone, which would make sense to me that not everyone's like using their computer.
Yeah, I know.
But because I liked the scene where like the one girl goes up into the attic, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of stuff that like it was and then like another one of the scenes I really liked was sorry, I just blanked on it. Oh, this is like completely unrelated to what you were just talking about, but how that girl, like anytime that they used like a gimmick of Zoom, I really liked, like Kit was saying also, with like the filter, and then how that one girl had the filter even when she was like freaking out, the filter would like turn on and she had like a snake tongue or whatever. And then the girl who had set up her Zoom background to be like her walking in like after she disappeared or whatever, and then she walked in, and then like that whole scene with like it fading between like her and the background she set up, I thought was like super cool.
Yeah, I wanted like more shit like that as opposed to like the a lot of the like other kind of typical haunted house shit that's happening.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really liked it. But I think I'm gonna definitely go watch. Wasn't Unfriended like in the theater though?
Unfriended, like I think, failed spectacularly because it was like, I don't know, like it's a dumb premise. Like I can't imagine trying to sell a horror movie as being like the social media horror movie or whatever. But I thought it was really good.
Right. And the other thing that I remember seeing the trailer for Unfriended, and the trailer was really bad. So I feel like maybe it just got like I think some people, whenever they see that there's like a horror movie that's not like one of the top franchises like Halloween or whatever, that they've never heard of, they see the trailer and they're like, oh, well, it's in the movie theater, that means it's gonna suck, and they just like don't give it a chance. Where if it comes out on Shudder, I feel like they're more often to be like, oh, this is probably good, even though a lot of the things that I've watched on Shudder have not been very good, but I think it suffers from that. And like I said, I feel like the trailer for Unfriended was like very stupid. So
I will say
I don't know.
the most underappreciated thing in Host is the credits being the contacts on
Yes.
Zoom.
The credits fucking
That's
ruled.
so smart.
At first, I was really confused, and I was like, "What's happening?" And then I was like, "Oh, okay."
Like, I do genuinely like the ending of like it being like you've run out of time on Zoom and it just ends.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that really got me was, I'm not going to spoil what it is, but like the girl who had the boyfriend, like that part,
Oh yeah.
like gave me chills. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
I don't know.
So
I think it was just another one of those movies that like everybody else on the fucking planet somehow watched it early before it hit Shudder. And so like
yeah.
by the time it came on Shudder yesterday, like everybody had just hyped it up so much that I was like, "There's like this is the scariest movie you're gonna see," and then I watched it and I was like, I for the most part could tell, like I knew what was gonna happen when it happened, or like because somebody would pick up and like you said, the lady that goes up into the attic, like of course she's gonna just like go buy something that's gonna be up there, and she goes back and it's not there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people I follow who are like part of something that's affiliated with Shudder, and I think that I think that they get like a day early access maybe. So you're right. You know, I don't know. I just like I don't. Go ahead.
I simply do not trust reviews of anyone who has Shudder.
So us.
I mean, not right. I definitely like my overall on it is definitely watch it if you can watch it like with earphones in and on a like don't watch it on your TV. Like I think one of the biggest I can't think of the word things that I regret is not going to see the first two Paranormal Activities in the theater, because when you watch it just like at home on your shitty sound system on your TV, it's like you lose so much nuance that really makes the movie like I don't know, like so if you can disservice, that's what I was trying to say. I really did that series a disservice by doing that. So I feel like if you can just really immerse yourself in it that way, like I felt really added a lot to me.
Paranormal.
Whereas
go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I were able, like I can't watch Shudder on my TV. If I were able to, I don't think I would have liked it as much. Like it's still totally fine, but listening and watching to it in that like setting really added a lot for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say give Host a watch. It's 56 minutes. Like it's not like I said, it's not a bad movie. I just did not have the reaction that apparently every other single person had about it.
Yeah.
I think if you liked the newest Blair Witch movie, you'd probably enjoy it, because I think they're a similar vein where they're very much roller coaster movies, where it's just like, thing happened, okay, wait for the next thing,
Yeah.
thing happened,
And
it's fun, it's worth a watch, but
I feel like
I'm never watching another webcam movie ever again.
I still want to watch the second Unfriended only because I like the first one and I'm just kind of interested.
Reprinted.
But like, yeah, it's blocked. I think that's the next move past Unfriended.
Report.
Yeah,
Post blocked.
It's Unfriended, the sequel's muted, and then it's blocked. But yeah, I don't know. I don't need what I know is eventually coming of 20 more of these next year. But at the same time, it's going to be like the only way people are going to be able to fucking shoot movies in the U.S., so...
I know. I think that maybe because this is the first one the first like content besides that like Parks and Rec thing, the first content I've seen related to like Zoom and like the coronavirus or whatever, like it was fine. But yeah, if this had been like the sixth one or whatever, I probably wouldn't have watched it, even though like I said I did think it was good. So I don't know.
I do want to jump back to Paranormal Activity. I think one of the most underappreciated visual gags I've seen in a movie. I don't know if gag is the right word, but I think it's 3, because I think the first 3 of them go back in time. So you're following the story, but like going backwards. So you're seeing what happened, but prequel style, I guess.
Yeah. Which
they get to a
I thought was really cool because you don't know it.
yeah.
Like,
I think it's 3 where they get to a point where it's not digital, so they're doing like handheld camera type stuff, but they put a camera on top of an oscillating fan. And so, like, the shot is just like going back and forth across the room, and then, like, something's coming, and it takes so long for it to finally happen that, like, it's one of those things that, like, amps up your tension because you just are waiting for that, like, shoe to drop of something to pop into the screen.
yeah, and I think that's like what that's what I really like about movies like that. And that's what I liked about The Host, because there were moments where like you expect something to happen and it doesn't, but you realize that you're like holding your breath and like looking for that thing. So
Yeah, I felt like I think I saw someone tweet about it. Maybe Robin, I don't remember. Somebody that was just like, I really loved the first like 30 minutes. Because like it takes a while in like a 56-minute movie for shit to really happen. But like the entire time you're like anticipating that thing to happen. But then once it did, I was kind of like, okay, well, this is the same old shit I've seen before.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
watch Anaconda.
I just want to, yeah, I want to add one more thing about Paranormal Activity because obviously we're not talking about that. I doubt we'll ever do any of those movies, but one of the scenes, since we were just talking about like different stuff in technology, like I don't remember which one this was in, but there was that one where they put up the Xbox camera that is supposed to be, to like interact with games or whatever, but it's got like the mapping, and at the time that was like super, like new technology or whatever, but that scene to me is like one of the best uses of like that new sort of technology, the same way as that they were like using the stupid like zoom filters or whatever. But yeah.
All right, shout outs. Kit, you go first.
I'm gonna say the new Charlie Crockett album. If you like old school country kind of stuff, it's really good.
No.
Wow.
I don't like country.
Also, the new Fall Out Boy. Get out of here.
Oh, I can't back that because Fall Out Boy's been garbage for 15 years.
Ever? For always?
How dare you?
Do they actually have a new album though?
I have no idea.
I think they released something maybe last year.
Go ahead.
Oh, me? I'm gonna say listen to Graf Orlock. After watching Heat for me and Caitlin's podcast, they have an entire EP that's about, or like from the movie Heat, so I've now understand what it is. So I've been listening to that. So listen to Graf Orlock's Los Angeles EP. All right, your turn.
I also have music. My recommendation is the new Lunar Cult album called Ageless Defiance, and it's basically like it's on Bandcamp. It's basically like the description of it is anti-fascist chiptune influenced by black metal JRPG soundtracks, which I freaking love chiptune and like old 8-bit video game like soundtracks, and I think it's just like really cool for people to still be using that as a medium to make music. And that's Pay What You Want on Bandcamp. So.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi.
I'm also going to add in Girl That's Scary, even though we shouted them out before. Because I've been listening to them all week, and they're good.
Yeah, I was really excited too. After I watched the host, they posted on Instagram like a little mini review of that, and I don't really get to see, like, I barely ever watch stuff when it comes out, so the fact that I was like able to watch it, I thought was really fun. So
all right, so next week for episode 100, we're doing one of the 2 movies that people DM all the time to be like, how come you guys haven't covered this yet? One of them is always Troll 2, which we are never covering.
stop asking.
Troll 2 is just too, like, purposefully, not even
Right.
purposefully, but it's like The Room. Like, it just doesn't need it.
Yeah.
If we're doing anything, it's the original Troll.
Yes,
So I can make Harry Potter jokes the whole
I'm
time.
on board. But we are going to watch Manborg, finally.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
A movie I have not seen. But
You haven't?
no.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I haven't seen it in a couple years though, and I've only seen it once, so I'm really excited to rewatch it.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally watch it. For some reason, it's just one of those ones that, like, I would, like, have, it was in my queue on, like, Prime or something, and then it would just, like, I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll watch this, and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna watch, like, whatever else instead, and it just kept getting, like, bypassed, so I'm gonna force myself to watch it.
Those are really the 2 most requested.
Yeah, it's Troll 2 and Manborg, like, all the fucking time. Or, like, every once in a while, someone will be like, you guys should do The Room, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
Yeah, so watch Manborg for next week. Also, if you're listening to this close to when it comes out, you have about a week to enter our contest to win a shirt.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna post on Twitter and Instagram. I gotta, once I figure out my schedule is for next week, we can figure out where we're gonna record, and then I'll have like an actual date of when you have to have it in by. But leave us an iTunes review, screenshot it, send us an email with that screenshot to ihopeyousufferpodcast@gmail.com with a 100 episode giveaway in the subject, so I know to read it, and you'll be entered, and you can win a shirt. And also, I'll probably add in one of the masks we just released for we released a logo and a Shredako, I forget. Every time I pronounce it is differently.
I think Shredako.
Yeah. But we did face masks on our storefront tier that we're gonna do throughout August for a Navajo and Hopi COVID relief fund. I should have had that brought up when I had this going. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, so I feel like if you guys already bought a shirt and you like don't want to enter because you don't want another shirt, like I get it, we all have 1,000 shirts. If you want to do it anyway, we'll definitely send you a mask. Like we can definitely do that instead.
Or both, if you just want another color of the shirt or whatever. Like I'll probably just add a mask to whoever wins just to throw it out there. So, but yeah, we're gonna sell. There's 3 colors, 2 different designs. One's the Shredako, one's just our logo. There's 2 of the Shredako face mask colors, like white and black. But whenever we get our payout after the end of August, we're gonna donate to the Navajo Hopi COVID-19 Relief Fund, which is it's a volunteer grassroots indigenous-led group prioritizing elders and struggling families in the Navajo and Hopi communities, delivering them food so they don't need to leave, giving out face masks, shit like that. And indigenous people are getting ravaged by COVID, and shockingly our government doesn't care, so we are doing that just to bring everybody down at the end of the episode. But yeah, that's those 2 things. You could follow us on Twitter at IHopeYouSuffer, Instagram at IHopeYouSufferPodcast. Go listen to Kit's back catalog of Riff Raff episodes.
Woof woof. It always reminds me of just like a little like a little street dog. Riff Raff.
Fair enough.
That's, yeah.
Follow Katie at Werewolf Face. Starting tomorrow when we recorded this, she's going to be doing the August challenge thing.
That's right.
So you could
I'll
see her.
draw and post a ghost every day.
Yeah.
day.
Follow that. Commission art from her in like 3 months when she's not slammed with stuff. Caitlin and I finally recorded a new episode of Nate Kate Movie Club on Dracula Dead and Loving It. So you can go listen to that, and we should have an episode on Heat soon, which I am fucking dying to talk about. Yeah, other than that, go watch Manborg. We're doing episode 100 next week.
Woohoo!
Somehow.
Yep, 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 yep.
What was that? Is that supposed to be lasers?
Street dog.
Yeah, that's right.
Queen of impressions, Katie Cottrell.
That's me.
All right. I hope you suffer, but why?
My anaconda don't want none unless you got bones, son.
Oh no.
Nailed it.
Yeah, Roger Van Zandt.
Yeah, who's this?
You know what this is.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I sent a guy to deliver the package.
He didn't call. Is everything right?
Tell you what, forget the money.
It's a lot of money. What are you doing? What do you mean, forget the money?
What am I doing? I'm talking to an empty telephone. Because there was a dead man on the other end of this fucking line.
You